Everyone who's not here yet. Hello, hello. We're off to the races, right? Like January for me felt like 3 months personally. And it felt like it took its time, but a lot of the ashe around January was to be patient and to allow yourself to be in the present. My and allow yourself to be in the sort of in the liminal space, in the spatial reality. Oh, yes. Oh, new energy is coming. That's why there was the patience energy, right? Because it was like when things pick up pace, and maybe you feel like they've not put any pace down. Maybe the pace has never stopped for you, right? Like, but when things pick up pace, we're all gonna be on the roller coaster. So let's see. Oh, all right. Well, that was easy. Our decks today are our old friend Tarot of Gemstones and Crystals, and our other old friend Visions in Liminal Space. Well, let's see who is talking first. I hope that's not a preview. I saw a card and I'm like, let's hope that's not going to enter the chat, but you never know. You literally never know. Okay. What do we need to know for February, this leap year, when we have a 29th day? Oh, love that. You know what? Like, the interesting thing about right now is when there's momentum, anticipation, build up, like collective energy around any sort of event happening, that itself is a liminal space, right? Like the energy is building up to something. People have expectations. Those are varied expectations. What is going to happen has not yet culminated. And so you can sort of use this momentum in whatever direction best serves you until it has a decided like outcome or direct or the Caribbean came out in me or some like culmination. I don't know if that's the word I had just said, but that's what comes to me. So don't, you know, don't be, don't be, what's the word? Intimidated. Don't be intimidated by the energy. Use it in a way that works for you, right? Like the fact that things are ramping up is beyond your control. So, what is in your control? Because what's beyond your control is irrelevant. You know what I'm saying? It's out of your hands. I would ask you about what's beyond your control. I'm not asking you to do unnecessary math. Okay, so we have the C.O.A cards, the concern, the opportunity, obstacle, and the advance diversion from Visions in Liminal Space. And then we have the key card from the Tarot of Gemstones and Crystals. So let's get into it together. Hmm. Why did the card that I say, I hope it didn't come up, come up? I mean, it said what it said. It's fine, but it's just this card. And I'm going to read from the book on this card this time because I have my own interpretations with it, but it's going to be coming up a lot. I did some personal readings in January and it came up for a few people um, on an evening when I do multiple people in a row. So that always is a way of telling me, but I'm just like, damn. Okay, so first things first, okay? Um, our concern, the next right thing. This is such an important card because it's not binary, right? Like you're choosing from the choices presented to you. And remember, or if I haven't said it before, the etymology for choose is to taste. right? You are choosing what you want to chew on out of the things presented for you to taste, okay? And so the next right thing is, and I guess I say this in my way when I'm like, it's love in the time of cholera, and love in the time of COVID, and love in the time of enslavement, and love in the time of the Holocaust, and love in the time of genocide, and love in the time of colonization. It's always love, right? So like the next right thing is, there's always going to be something to do regardless of the state of affairs. And so as long as you can do what is necessary, literally necessary, right? Like there's the necessities of existential reality. Breathe, eat, drink, sleep, you know, connect with people, socialize, like go and do something, aka work. Um, like these are aspects, and create, right? Like to create something, to have like a reason to live. That's how I mean by create, right? Having a reason to live. So there's this quality with the next right thing, which is like really demanding, regardless of the circumstances, what do you prefer to do with yourself, regardless of the circumstances? It's almost like Jedi mind tricks. I want to make sure also, excuse me, that my phone isn't like vibrating, because that sound is hella annoying. Okay, great. Okay, so the next right thing, especially because look, it's like the compass, right? So as a compass, it's about inner direction. I was like, that's not gonna come out right, but that's what it is. It's about inner direction, right? It's about navigating from within, knowing why you are doing what you are doing when you are doing it to the best of your ability, while also allowing yourself to be figuring it out, right? Allowing yourself to be in the makings and the beginnings of something, because we're all, getting ready to climb this mountain, essentially. And I guess the irony is, the reason that like Capricorn season would feel like it took so long and so stagnant is because goats climb mountains for breakfast, like literally, like it ain't none of the damn. Okay. Like I posted a video that I thought was unreal, that was taken in the early 1900s, of goats in the Himalayas jumping down like literal mountains, like it wasn't shit to them. So Capricorn season's probably like, yeah, scaling mountains, going deep, I do that for breakfast and dinner. And the rest of these signs are about to be like, I don't know, I don't do that. Like, I don't do that. So we're about to go through a little bit of the pressures. So the next right thing is like navigate, navigate, navigate. Okay. Choose, 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 taste, taste, taste. If you're gonna choose to live, right? Like, which I hope you do, because you already did, you know? So it should be no surprise then that the opportunity obstacle card, when we think about the next right thing, is one of my favorite cards in the whole deck. Wait, uh, uh, uh. Oh God. It's Sparkle Sparkle Bitch. I don't know why. Let me see if it's the lighting that's so trash that doesn't let you see it. Yeah, Sparkle Sparkle Bitch. Um, the opportunity and the obstacle. I know that's right though, right? Because like, to shine, sparkle is to be willing to inhabit the space that you do, to show up as you are in the space and time, to not apologize for the space that you take up, to not feel badly about the space that you take up, to literally be where you are, when you are, as you are. When people do that, it's intimidating, right? Because other people are like, to embrace your power. Well, I should say it's not intimidating, you're intimidated. And the reason that you're intimidated is because the idea of yourself in your power, and obviously there are so many examples of power that are highly abusive and not power, right? Like we see coercion as power, we see force as power, we see abuse as power, we see, um, basically exploitation as power. Um, and so, in that sense, when we think of becoming our most powerful self, we think about having to be amongst those forces, but that's not actually power. And the interesting thing about the etymology of power is that it means itself, power. Um, it also might mean Lord, but the interesting thing is like Lord is like the one who breaks the bread. It's not a gender term. It's like the one who brings the sustenance. So with this card, especially as the opportunity, the obstacle, it's like, well, there's a very much a like go towards the right. I was going to be muted. It's so crazy. It's so like Brave New World that you can't tell the phone not to bother you. Can you guys hear me? You can't tell the phone not to bother you when you're doing something. It will impose the call on you no matter whether you want it or not. So, there's very much an energy of like go towards the light here. There's an energy of follow, and there's definitely this little light of mine beckoning here because at the end of the day, like this is what so many of us came here for to like, be in the world differently. And oh, the law, you want it down my hand? Okay. Is this better? Do I sound better? Do I sound okay, cool. So thank you. Um, I said there's very much like go like follow the light, go to the light, go into the light energy. There's very much this little light of mine energy we're going into. And also there's just the fact that so many of us incarnated for the purpose of being in the world differently. But there's so much energy about like if this happened in my time. But when we say differently, it's not like I would have done more of this or I would have done more of that. I think it's truly our calling to be in the world differently, to still hold the world that we are always building towards as the light, regardless of the outside, right? Which means outside of your necessary needs, always doing towards more of who you are, your purpose, and and I mean, I keep getting the energy like what's inside. Um, because the diamond is inside, right? Like I always use the fifth element. The stones are in me. Okay. Like it's in you. Okay. But also it's under all the coal. It's under all that coal. So, you know, this is the card I had seen, which means it was at the top of the deck because it like the second card sort of flipped as I was shuffling, but it didn't flip out. And then I was shuffling indiscriminately. There were other cards I doused, but our advantage aversion card is the hell train. And I was like, no, not that one. And it was like, yup, me. Okay, so I'm going to talk about what I think about the hell train, and then we're going to read from the book. And I'm going to just read all the cards from the book because I feel like there's layers and layers. But I always say the good thing I think about the hell train is that it's outward bound. Okay. It's it's leaving hell. Okay. So that's what I think about the hell train. But also it's like your behavior, yourself as a as a vehicle, yourself as a vehicle for your consciousness awareness, yourself as a vehicle for your experience, your behavior, your beliefs, your understanding is the train, right? Like that's how you're moving through the world. That's how you are processing. That's where you're going. So like that being the train out of hell is being the self that doesn't exist to be where it is, right? At the same time, being present in not, I'm not talking about denial, right? I'm not talking about like, I don't see it. I'm talking about, yes, these things are true and this as well. You know, it's an opportunity to give people, especially yourself, more room to construct and create the experience that you prefer in the face of any and all opposition. And you know what's so interesting? It's a leap year, right? And it's a leap month. So I feel like this is a little bit for people playing this existential game because everyone's doing different things in on Earth and in reality. Okay, so like play your own, do your own road, play your own game. But this leap year, I think, is like a little mastery portal for people who want a little boost because mastery is, oh my God, thank you for another day. Stop it. I'm so happy to be here. I'm going to make whatever choices I can make today, and whatever choices I don't make, I'll make them another day. And even if I never make them, someone else will make them, and all the choices will get made, and nothing's wrong in the world. Okay. Mastery is you can nail me to the cross. This is who the fuck I am. Mastery is you can legislate against me. This is who the fuck I am. Mastery is you can intimidate me. This is what you are intimidating. This is who I am. Right. So I always say for people, let's just shoot for neutral, right? Which is like, I'm going to have the experience and then I'm going to decide, right? Whereas negative reality is everything is in opposition, right? Everything is set up to be a barrier to what you prefer. In a neutral reality, you just assume nothing, You're like, oh, another day, we'll see. So I usually tell people, let's shoot for just neutral. But I think because it's a leap year and it's a leap month, for the cheat code, it's like if you take the high road this month. So shout out uh to Mill for sending a dream to me and letting me know that I was taking the highway, high road. Like it's beyond a high road. It's like a high freeway, right? Because ultimately you're holding space for the greatest possible version of yourself because you're through that behavior saying there's as much room for that version of you as any other version of yourself, right? So you're deciding that like you value yourself in the fullest reality that is not inherently negative or even neutral, but like positive. So there's a little bit of a cheat code. I haven't turned over the key card, but I do want to look in the book and talk about what the Hildren has to say. I can always, you never know in a book if something's called the something. You're like, is it under the first word or is it under the? It's under the first word. Just gonna look at the messages real quick. DDD. Okay, cool. Dagman, okay. KKK. All right. Just wanted to make sure I was up to date. Okay. The Hell Train says, too late. This unavoidable confrontation is a long time coming. Toot toot, bitch. It's here. Like, at some point, you just have to own it. I always love, it's so funny. My memory on Instagram is from 2 years ago from these pop culture memes I made to represent the tarot cards. So the Four of Cups is the rock creature in the never ending story where he's like, these hands used to be such strong hands. Because like the Four of Cups is someone lamenting that they've spilled some cups when the cup is coming out of heaven, like all those other cups came out of heaven, right? So it's like they're still strong hands. They're still stronger hands than a lot of people's hands. Like you're still there, right? Then I have the Five of Cups, which is Marlon Brando, and he's like, I could have been a contender. I could have been somebody, right? Because he's talking like he's dead. Like he's talking like he has nothing to give. He has no value. Like then he might as well roll over and die. Um, but like this toot bitch, this too late, the unavoidable confrontation is a long time coming. It's like the scene in Jumanji where the cop car gets like strangled by the branch that comes out the jungle. And is he a Marlon brother? Is that a Marlon brother in in original Jumanji? Let me ask the internet. Jumanji. Yes, the original. Who is that? I want to get his name right, not disrespect the man. Who's, of course, not even in the most listed people, even though he's at. No, it's David Allen Greer. So, David Allen Greer in Jumanji, when the branch, the tree, whatever the plant comes out and breaks his cop car, there's a moment where he's like, takes out his gun. He thinks he's about to do something. And then he just surrenders and he yells, take it, fine, take it. Okay. So this is the energy of the hell train, which is like, just give up the ghost. Like, just keep it 100. Like, have no more fucks to give in the sense that what is the point of being anyone else? Like, there's no time for that anymore. Which doesn't mean that you have to force the situation. Existence will give you every opportunity to rise to the occasion, to take the high road, to be the versions of yourself that you most prefer to be, and to be in the world as you claim it can be changed. It's for you to recognize when you're being offered an opportunity from existence, right? Like, whatever, we're doing pop culture references today. Okay, I don't know what it is. So, in like Wheel of Time, the series, how when you go through, I read the books when I was young. I quit like halfway through because there was a gang of books and I don't remember any of the names very well. But like the Aes Sedai, when you are put through the three tests, right? Like in that in that construct, there's a moment where there is a portal, and if you don't recognize that that portal is there, you stay in the construct, right? So like I think this is a time, especially right now, this month's energy, where like there's going to be infinite portals to offer you an opportunity outside of the construct. And it's for you to believe that those worlds, the reality outside of the construct is possible. And it's for you to recognize when existence is offering you a portal and giving you an opportunity to become more of yourself, not as a catch 22, not to set you up for failure, not to drop the other shoe, not to pull the rug out from under you, but because that's who you are already. And it's for you to make the lateral move into your understanding that that world already exists. And it's about being the version of yourself of that world who already knows it exists because that is who they are. That is where they are. Um, and again, it's never fake it till you make it. It's always act the way that you need to feel. Okay. So you simulate, you practice, you test the field, you test the field. And then existence, biocompassing, right, affirms you through positive synchronicity, which aligns, opens up, gives the opportunity to do the things. Okay. And then allows you through neutral synchronicity, which just means gives you room to explore, to experiment, to discover. And then, of course, denies you through negative synchronicity, which is obvious now what that is. So Act like you know. Let's see what Sparkle Sparkle Bitch says. Sparkle Sparkle Bitch. Better think big, bitch. Okay. It says every being is at their core sparkling and luminous. Some call it soul, some call it the bit of God dwelling in each of us. Others just call it sparkle, sparkle, bitch. To be unapologetically sparkly in a dull world is an act of resistance and an act of hope, too. So true. I recently was saying, like, hope is to compassion as, can you hear me? And do I sound low again? Do I sound low? I'm good. Okay, good. So I don't know how to say this. Compassion is hope. Compassion is to hope as reality is to Pandora's box. Okay. Like hope, when we get to the etymology, means like to hop on one leg, right? It's not sustainable to just hope, right? Like you, at some point, you got to put the other leg down, sit your ass down, sleep, motherfucker. Like, but there are times where it can compensate for what you lack. Okay. So it's in Pandora's box because sometimes you need something beyond reason to get you where you need to go. Compassion seems beyond reason in our world, right? It does mean to suffer together. It's a composite in Latin taken from Greek. I'm doing, this is my digest for January, which is coming late, but is coming to my Substack. But basically, it comes from sympathy in Greek and to know that you suffer with another person. And beyond being related to, in Latin, literally crucifixion, compassio, right? Like crucifying people. That suffering, literal like crucifixion and suffering and martyrdom, gets wrapped up in all those words. Um, it literally meant when people were made to suffer together, right? Like as a punishment from feudal lords, monarchy, government, essentially. So literally it was the sentence of suffering together, but it's also the understanding that that is the sentence of reality, which is if we all live in the same reality and there are people suffering, we are in a world where people suffer. Okay. So you need compassion, even though it seems irrational, because it keeps you anchored to the reality that you chose on a fundamental level, right? Earth life, human life, this time, this place. But how you navigate that and the kind of portals and shit that you can enter and the things that are available for you to understand about the world are highly dependent on how you are willing to perceive and conceive of things. So when it says to be unapologetically sparkly in a dull world is an act of resistance and an act of hope too, it's because why not? Like, why wouldn't you? Not asking you that in a human way. I'm asking you that in a being way. Like, that is you. So why wouldn't you continue to do what you're already doing? You know what I'm saying? And next but not Niecy Nash, we have the next right thing. Do you imagine? And next but not Niecy Nash, we have imagine not being Niecy Nash. It's all of us. It's terrible. Um, let's see. The next, oh, I can hear it now. Something happened. Something happened. Hold on. The next right thing says, it may not be easy, but in this case, it's simple. Yeah, it's simple. The next right thing will require no justification or deception. It will cause no harm. Follow its light to the high road. Okay, it says follow its light to the high road, okay? And take that all the way down to Miracle Mile, which is another card in the deck. So it's kind of amazing because I was talking about this little light of mine, and I didn't even know that that was what this card actually represents because even though there's a star in there, I was actually focusing on the compass. But this shit literally says it may not be easy, but in this case, it's simple. The next right thing will require no justification or deception. It will cause no harm. Follow its light to the high road and take that all the way down to Miracle Mile. So Miracle Mile is where the hell train takes you. Tutu, bitch. So now the key card, which comes from, let's see if it has changed. Yeah, our key card is from the Tarot of Gemstones and Crystals.